My name is Stasia Pankey. I'm 28 years old, a machinist in a manufacturing plant in Illinois, and until a few months ago, my life was as predictable as the hum of the CNC machines I work with. Metal made sense, people didn't, and Ethan Carson would be the one to prove that in the most dramatic way possible. Before everything exploded, my days were simple: up at 5, plant by 7, home by 4. On weekends, I worked on restoring an old '85 Chevy K10. The truck was a mess, engine dead, transmission barely hanging on, but fixing broken things always felt satisfying. I just didn't realize I'd soon become the one doing the breaking. I met Ethan at a friend's birthday barbecue. He walked up with 2 beers and said, "If you take one, I won't look like the guy drinking alone." I laughed. "Is that your best line?" "It's the one that worked," he said, handing me the bottle. He was charming in that polished, soft-handed way. Marketing job, perfect hair, smelled like expensive cologne and good life choices. And when I explained how CNC programming works, he didn't look bored. He asked questions. He made jokes. He acted interested. For a while, I believed he was. 6 months into dating, I heard the name for the first time. Hannah. "Just a friend," he said. "We dated forever ago. It didn't work out." She felt like a shadow at first. A like on one of his photos. A comment on mine that read, "You look so cute. Ethan loves when I wear my hair like that too." I asked him about it. "She's harmless," he said. "She's dramatic, but it's over." I should have listened to the hesitation in his voice. I should have paid attention when he mentioned she'd been calling about closure. I should have noticed the way he angled his phone away when her name popped up. I didn't. I wanted to believe the best in him, and that belief would make everything worse. Around the 1-year mark, things shifted. Ethan became distracted. He spent more time out. He answered questions vaguely. He got irritated over small things. "You're imagining it," he told me once. "I'm just stressed." But late nights out, plus random flashes of his phone lighting up with her name, didn't look like stress. They looked like a choice. The night he broke up with me, he knocked on my door like he hadn't already made up his mind. "We need to talk," he said, sitting stiffly on my couch. I muted the TV and faced him. "What's going on?" "I think we should break up." No hesitation, no apology. I swallowed. "Okay, any reason?" "I'm not ready for something this serious. I feel boxed in." "Do you want help packing your things?" He blinked, thrown. "You're not upset?" "You made a decision. I'm respecting it." He gathered his clothes, his toothbrush, a few books. At the door, he looked back as if waiting for me to ask him to stay. I didn't. He left. The house felt strangely quiet, like someone had turned off the background noise of my life. I should have been heartbroken. Maybe I was. But mostly, I felt something else. A sense of something unfinished. 2 days later, I found out why. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. The number wasn't saved. "Hey, Stasia, it's Hannah. I heard about the breakup. Can we talk woman to woman?" I stared at the message. Before I could respond, another text arrived. "I just want you to know Ethan is confused right now. He always comes back to me eventually. But I hope you're okay." My pulse spiked. This wasn't concern. This was gloating. I didn't answer. A mistake. 2 nights later, she texted again. "Just so we're clear, it would hurt Ethan if you started dating someone else right away. He needs space. I'll let you know when things settle." "I'll let you know." My jaw tightened. My love life had never involved Hannah, yet she spoke like she owned the rights to it. I wrote back, "My relationships are none of your business." Her reply came instantly. "You're acting emotional. I'm just trying to help. Ethan and I have a long history. You wouldn't understand." I didn't answer. I put my phone down, turned off the lights, and tried to forget the smugness in her words. The next day at the gym, Kevin took one look at my face. "What happened?" "Ethan's ex texted me," I said, grabbing a towel. "She's weird." "Weird how?" "Like she thinks she decides who I can date." Kevin stopped mid-lift. "Stasia, that's not normal ex behavior. That's obsession." I shrugged. "Maybe she's just dramatic." "No," he said firmly. "This sounds like a woman who never let go." I didn't want to believe him. But that night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling fan circling like a slow countdown, I felt something uneasy creep over me. A heaviness. A warning. Something told me that Hannah wasn't done, that Ethan hadn't been the real ending, that the breakup was only the beginning of a story I never signed up for. And I didn't know then, but I would soon, that the moment I stood my ground and refused to play by Hannah's rules, she would show up at my door smiling, acting friendly, her voice sweet, while her eyes told a much darker truth. A week after the breakup, just as I was beginning to settle into the strange quiet of my new life, someone knocked on my door. 3 slow taps, not urgent, not friendly, just expectant. I opened it, thinking it might be a package or Kevin dropping by unannounced. Instead, Hannah stood on my porch. She wore a beige trench coat and perfect makeup, like she'd practiced this entrance in the mirror. She smiled, slowly, warmly, but her eyes didn't smile with her. "Hi, Stasia," she said, clasping her hands. "Can we talk?" I stared at her. "No. Whatever you think we need to discuss, we don't." She laughed softly. "Oh, you're upset. I get it. Breakups are hard." "I'm not upset," I said, "but I'm also not interested." She stepped forward like she owned my air. "Maybe you're not, but Ethan is. He's been crying nonstop." "Crying?" I raised an eyebrow. She blinked too quickly. "Well, not crying, just emotional. He's always been sensitive." I leaned on the door frame. "What do you want, Hannah?" She exhaled dramatically, lowering her voice like we were sharing a secret. "I think it would be best for everyone if you and I stay aligned." "Aligned," I repeated flatly. "Yes, for Ethan's sake." "And how exactly do we align?" She smiled like a cat about to steal something. "By agreeing on boundaries." I didn't move, didn't blink. "Such as?" "Such as not dating anyone for a while." She shrugged casually. "Especially not people he knows. That would confuse him." I stared at her, dead silent. She kept going. "And also," she added, "please don't post anything online that might mislead him into thinking you're moving on. He'll spiral." "I'm not responsible for his spiraling," I said. Her smile faltered, the first real crack in her expression. "I'm trying to be civil," she said, tightening her coat around her waist. "I thought we could be adults." "We are being adults," I said. "This conversation is over." I tried to close the door. She blocked it with her hand. "Stasia," she said sharply, voice no longer sweet, "you don't know him like I do. When he feels lost, he comes back to me. He always has." I met her eyes. "Then why are you here talking to me?" Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I pushed the door fully this time, and she moved her hand just before it got caught. "I'm not part of your history with him," I said, "and I'm not following rules you invent." Her jaw clenched. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." "Good night, Hannah." I shut the door. For a full minute, she didn't leave. I could hear her breathing faintly through the wood. Then slow footsteps retreated across my porch. I locked the deadbolt. The next morning, Kevin and I were in my garage replacing bushings on the rear suspension. "So she actually showed up?" he asked, wiping grease off his hands. I nodded. "She wanted to set boundaries." "For you?" His face twisted. "What did she say?" "She said Ethan might spiral if I move on." Kevin scoffed. "Classic manipulator deflection. She wants Ethan, but she wants to control you." "I know," I said quietly, "but it's weird. It feels like she's trying to rewrite the breakup as if she and I are co-parenting him." Kevin set down the wrench. "Stas, she's not stable. She's obsessed," I admitted. "With him. Maybe with controlling the narrative." "You need to document everything," he said. "Every call, every text, every attempt to show up." "She only texted twice and came to your house." I paused. "Yeah. That's escalation," he said. "People like her don't de-escalate." I brushed dust off my jeans. "I'll keep an eye on it." But a small knot formed in my stomach, tight, hot, undeniable. The escalation didn't wait. 2 days later, I was halfway through my shift when my supervisor approached me in the break room. "Stasia," he said cautiously, "there's a woman at the front desk asking for you. Says it's urgent." I froze. "No," I whispered. "You're kidding." He shook his head. "You want me to ask security to remove her?" I took a slow breath. "No, I'll handle it." I walked through the plant toward the lobby, boots echoing on the concrete. My heartbeat synced with each step. When I turned the corner, there she was, Hannah, standing in the reception area, arms wrapped around herself like she was the grieving widow of a man who wasn't dead. The receptionist looked uncomfortable. The security guard hovered behind her. "Stasia!" Hannah rushed toward me. "Please don't be mad. I just needed 5 minutes." "You cannot show up at my workplace," I said firmly. "This is not appropriate." "I know," she said breathlessly, "but you blocked my number." "Because you crossed boundaries." She blinked, eyes glossy. "I'm trying to make peace." "You stood on my porch telling me who I can and can't date. That's not peace." She stepped closer. "I'm just trying to protect Ethan." "From what, moving on?" "From being hurt again," she snapped. "You don't know him. When he's lost, he runs to you," I finished. "Yes, you said that already." Her eyes flashed with anger. "Don't be condescending." "Then stop acting like I'm your subordinate," I said. She stared at me with cold calculation. "You think you're done with him? You're not. He's confused. He's emotional. He told me you were overwhelming." I didn't react. Did he tell you, I asked calmly, that he dumped me because he wasn't ready for something serious? She hesitated. Gotcha. Leave, I said. Now, and don't come back to my job. Her face twisted into something raw and ugly. This isn't over, she whispered. The security guard stepped forward. Ma'am, you need to exit the building. She took one last look at me, an icy, trembling look that felt like the beginning of something dark, then turned and walked out. That night, I sat on my couch staring at the wall. Kevin texted, How bad was it? I replied, She came to my job. She's getting worse. 2 seconds later, he sent another message. Document everything. I put my phone down and exhaled, because Kevin was right. Hannah wasn't spiraling. Hannah was starting a campaign, and I was becoming the target of a woman who had already convinced herself I was the villain in her story. I just didn't know then how far she was willing to go, or how much worse it would get before it stopped. After the scene at my workplace, Hannah went quiet for a few days. Not silent, quiet, like a storm pulling back over the horizon, waiting for the right moment to snap forward again. For 72 hours, I didn't get a text, a call, or a sighting. It was almost worse than the harassment. Quiet meant she was planning something. But life doesn't stop because someone unhinged has decided to orbit your world. I still had shifts to work, a truck to restore, and a life I refused to put on hold for a woman who wasn't even part of my relationship to begin with. On Sunday morning, I grabbed coffee at a little shop near my house. It was peaceful, calm, normal. I let myself breathe for the first time in weeks. And that's where I saw him, Riley Weston. He stood in line ahead of me, sleeves rolled up, hair slightly messy, like he'd rolled out of bed and still somehow looked put together. I knew him vaguely. He'd been in the same social circle as Ethan and Hannah. We'd met once or twice at group gatherings. He turned, recognized me, and smiled. Stasia, right? Yeah, hey. You okay? He asked, studying my face like he already knew the answer. I hesitated. Just a long week. I heard, he said softly. Hannah's been loud. I blinked. Loud? He exhaled. She's been telling people you sabotaged her relationship with Ethan, that you manipulated him, that you're obsessed with him. My stomach twisted. She said I'm obsessed? He shook his head. None of us believed her. Hannah has a reputation for, well, let's just say, rewriting history. I grabbed my coffee from the counter and stepped aside. He followed. I shouldn't even be telling you this, he said, but I think you deserve to know. She's unraveling, and she's making you the villain. I rubbed my forehead. I didn't even know her until after the breakup. That doesn't matter, he said. Hannah doesn't process loss. She assigns blame. I tried to laugh, but it came out hollow. Lucky me. He leaned against the wall. If she escalates, you should consider documenting it. Protect yourself. I am, I said. My friend told me the same thing. Good. He paused. And for what it's worth, you seem like one of the sanest people in that entire friend group. I raised an eyebrow. That's a low bar. He laughed. True. There was a warmth in his eyes I hadn't expected, and for the first time in a long time, someone's attention didn't feel like a threat or a responsibility. It felt easy. He glanced at his watch. I have to go, but if you ever need someone to talk to about all this, I'm around. Thanks, I said. He hesitated before walking away. Take care of yourself, Stasia. He left, and I watched the door close behind him, thinking nothing more of it. But that conversation would become the catalyst for everything that came next. Later that week, Riley messaged me. Hey, just checking in. How's everything? I stared at the message longer than I should have, then typed. Still dealing with the fallout, but thanks for asking. He replied instantly. If you ever want to grab coffee again, not a date, just two people escaping chaos, I'm around. I told myself I wasn't interested in dating. I told myself it was too soon. But coffee wasn't a date. It was two people hiding from a storm. So I said yes. We met Thursday evening at the same cafe. The moment I walked in, Riley stood to greet me. You look like you've slept 3 hours this week, he teased. That's generous, I said, taking a seat. It's closer to 2. He smiled, but his eyes softened. She's still bothering you? She's quiet now, which somehow feels worse. That's her pattern, he said. She calms down right before she blows up. And how long until she blows up this time? No idea, he admitted. But she will. We talked for an hour, about work, about life, about nothing and everything. He listened without trying to fix me. He cared without prying. When we walked outside, he said, This was really nice. It was. We could do it again, if you want. I looked up at him, streetlights reflecting in his eyes. Steady, warm. Nothing like Ethan's restless energy or Hannah's brittle intensity. Yeah, I said, I'd like that. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter, which was why Hannah's message hit harder than it should have. It came from an unknown number. She'd realized I blocked the others. You think you can replace Ethan? You can't. He won't pick you again. He never wanted you. He told me everything. I stared at the screen, pulse pounding. Then another message. You're pathetic. Desperate. Trying to date someone from our circle? How predictable. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. An hour later, she escalated. Where are you? I know you're talking to Riley. Does he know what you're really like? My chest tightened. She knew. She knew about Riley. Because she'd been watching. That afternoon, while I was tightening bolts on a hydraulic assembly, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I ignored it. Then again, and again. Finally, during lunch break, I answered, annoyed. What? A sharp intake of breath. So it's true. Hannah. Don't act innocent, she said, voice cracking. You think you can date Riley? Riley? I exhaled slowly. I don't need your permission to see anyone. She let out a shaky laugh. You're doing this to hurt me. Hurt you? I repeated. I owe you nothing. He was my friend, she snapped. My circle. You're taking everything from me. I didn't take Ethan from you, I said calmly. He chose to leave. And whatever happens with Riley is none of your concern. You don't get to say that, she screamed. You don't get to act like you're better than me. I'm not acting, I said. Silence, like I'd slapped her. Then she whispered, almost eerily, you will regret this, Stasia. And the line went dead. That night, I told Kevin everything. He paced my kitchen like a bodyguard awaiting attack. She's escalating, he said. This is obsession territory. I know. No, you don't, he said firmly. This isn't just jealousy. This is a woman who thinks she's losing control of her entire reality. I sank into a chair. What do I even do now? You live your life, he said. You keep your boundaries, and you prepare for her to get worse. Great, I muttered. He squeezed my shoulder. You're not alone in this. I nodded, but inside, a cold knot tightened. Because Hannah wasn't just angry. She was unraveling. And somewhere inside that unraveling, she had decided that I was the enemy she needed to destroy. I just didn't know yet how far she would go, or how close she already was. Hannah didn't wait long to prove Kevin right. By Monday morning, she had shifted into full campaign mode. The first sign was the group chat. A chat I wasn't part of, but screenshots quickly found their way to me. People forwarded them quietly, apologetically, with messages like, I don't know what's going on, but you should see this. She's saying crazy stuff. In the screenshots, Hannah wrote paragraphs. Stasia manipulated Ethan into breaking up with me years ago. She's unstable and dangerous. She threatened me. She stole Riley out of spite. Stole, like men were objects she owned. I closed my phone and inhaled slowly, steadying myself against the counter. Kevin read the screenshots beside me and whistled. She's completely rewriting reality now, not even trying to be plausible. She knows the truth doesn't matter if she tells the lie first, I said. Kevin nodded grimly. People like her don't want to be believed. They just want attention. But Hannah wasn't done. That afternoon, Riley called. The moment I answered, his voice was tight. Stasia? Yeah? You might want to sit down. I'm already sitting. Well, he exhaled. Hannah just called my mother. I shut my eyes. Oh no. Oh yes, he said. She told her that you're using me to get revenge on Ethan, that you have violent tendencies, and that I'm in danger. I rubbed my temples. I don't even know your mother. I know, my mom knows. She hung up on Hannah. Good, I muttered. But I'm sorry you're dealing with this. Riley's tone softened. Don't apologize for someone else's insanity. I'm not going anywhere. I swallowed. Are you sure? This is a lot. Stasia, he said. Steady, grounded, unwavering. I like you. Not as a reaction to anyone. Not as a rebound. Not because of drama. I like you, and I'm not letting Hannah dictate my life. Warmth spread through my chest, quiet and unfamiliar. Thank you, I whispered. Always, he said. Now, how about dinner tonight? My treat. I smiled. Yeah, I'd like that. We chose a quiet steakhouse downtown. Dim lights, soft jazz, white tablecloths. Not the kind of place Hannah would normally haunt. We sat across from each other, laughing about childhood stories, work disasters, and my never-ending truck restoration. It felt normal. It felt good. It felt safe. Until Riley's face froze mid-laugh. I followed his gaze, and my stomach dropped. Hannah stood in the entryway, eyes locked on us, like a predator spotting prey. She didn't blink. She didn't smile. She just walked straight toward our table, heels clicking like gunshots. Are you kidding me? She hissed, loud enough for nearby tables to turn. Here, with him, in public? Riley calmly set down his fork. Hannah, leave. You stay out of this, she snapped at him before turning to me. You just can't help yourself, can you? Help myself? I asked evenly. You're doing this to hurt me. Riley and I are having dinner, I said. That's all. You're parading him in front of me, she cried. You followed us here, Riley said. You saw my story. You stalked us. I was coincidentally nearby, she screamed, drawing more attention. The manager approached cautiously, but Riley gave a slight shake of his head. Let us handle this. I folded my hands into my lap. Hannah, listen carefully. Ethan broke up with me. You and I were never friends. I owe you nothing. My personal life is not yours to control. Her voice cracked. He told me he still loved me. I met her eyes. Did he say that, or did you decide that? She froze, pupils shrinking. Riley leaned forward. Hannah, this ends tonight. You need to walk away. Her chest heaved as she looked between us, tears welling up but not falling. She wasn't crying. She was performing. You'll regret this, she whispered. Both of you. We won't, I said softly, and that's the part that scares you. Her lips trembled, not in sadness, but in rage. People watched openly now. Some whispered, some stared. The kind of scene she wanted to use to humiliate me had backfired spectacularly. She was the one unraveling in public. Finally, she turned on her heel and stormed out, the restaurant doors swinging violently behind her. Riley let out a long, slow breath. Well, that happened. I'm sorry, I said automatically. Don't be, he replied. She embarrassed herself, not you. I stared at the doorway she'd disappeared through. The quiet after her exit felt heavier, not lighter. As if she'd crossed an invisible line tonight. As if something in her had snapped. And the worst part? I could feel it deep in my bones. She wasn't done. 2 days later, while I was wiping down the fenders of my truck in the garage, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I considered ignoring it, but something told me to pick up. Hello? At first, there was silence, then a low, shaky voice. You made me do this. My grip tightened on the phone. Hannah. You pushed me, she sputtered. You humiliated me, in front of everyone, you and Riley both. Hannah, stop. Do you know what it feels like, she hissed, to lose everything twice? First Ethan, now Riley. You never had Riley, I said gently. Yes, she said, voice rising. I did! My chest tightened. Where are you? I asked. You don't get to ask me questions, she snarled. You don't get to live your life while mine falls apart. Hannah. You think you've won? She whispered, breath trembling. But this isn't over. It's barely started. The line went dead. I lowered the phone slowly. For the first time since the breakup, fear, not irritation, not frustration, clawed its way through my chest. Because this wasn't jealousy anymore. This wasn't a tantrum. This was obsession. And obsessions don't fade on their own. They grow. They escalate. They consume. And somewhere out there, Hannah was feeding hers. The night after Hannah's chilling phone call, I barely slept. Every sound outside pressed against my nerves. The creak of the porch, the rumble of a passing car, even the old pipes humming in the walls. My body stayed tense, alert, waiting for the next explosion. By morning, exhaustion settled under my skin like bruises. When my phone buzzed again, I froze. Unknown number. Not again. I let it ring. It rang again, then again. Finally, a voicemail notification appeared. Kevin arrived at my door just as I hit play. Her voice, Hannah's voice, filled the room. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell. I need you to understand why this hurts. Ethan was my whole life. You were supposed to disappear. I don't want to be the bad guy. The message shifted, her tone cracking. But then you took Riley. You took him too. Why do you get everything? Why does it all go right for you? Then silence. Then a small broken whisper. I don't know how to be okay without them. The message ended. Kevin's expression hardened. That's not apology. That's manipulation with a garnish of self-pity. I exhaled shakily. It's unraveling. He nodded. She's clinging to any emotional angle now. Guilt, sympathy, desperation, classic cycle. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again, this time with a text. From yet another new number. I'm outside. My blood went cold. Kevin stepped forward immediately. Stay behind me. He opened the door. Hannah stood on my front porch. Her hair was messy, makeup smeared from crying or from not caring. She clutched her phone like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Her eyes flicked to me instantly. Stasia, she breathed. Please, I just need to talk. Kevin blocked the doorway. You need to leave. She ignored him. I didn't come to fight, I swear. I just want her to hear me. I stepped forward, keeping my voice even. What do you want, Hannah? Her gaze flickered between us. Not Kevin, just you. Kevin didn't move. Not happening. She swallowed hard, tears welling in that theatrical way of hers. But this time, something looked different. Less controlled, less calculated, more broken. I loved Ethan, she said hoarsely. I know you don't care, but I did. And when he left me, I told myself if I just waited, if I just stayed close, he would come back. That's not healthy, I said gently. She shook her head violently. No, no, you don't get it. I built my life around him, and when he stopped choosing me, I didn't know how to exist. I softened my stance slightly. That isn't my fault, or yours. It's just what happened. Her lip trembled. Then you showed up, and you were everything I wasn't. Calm, capable, independent. He liked that. It scared me. Kevin muttered under his breath, Here it comes. She turned to me fully. I wanted to hate you, but I couldn't. You're good. That's why it hurt. That's why I couldn't stop. My throat tightened, not out of sympathy, but in recognition. She wasn't lying. This was a woman who defined her existence through others. And when those people left, she hollowed out. Hannah, I said softly, you need help, real help. Not from Ethan, not from Riley, not from me. She flinched like I'd struck her. So that's it? You're dismissing me after everything? I'm not dismissing you, I said. I'm letting go of something that was never mine to hold. Her breathing quickened. You don't get to walk away, not after you took everything. I didn't take anything, I said quietly. You lost something you were never meant to keep. Her face twisted. Stop saying that. It's the truth. No, she shouted, stepping forward. Kevin blocked her, voice stern. Back up, Hannah. She froze, chest heaving. Tears finally spilled down her face, not performative, real. Why her? She whispered. Why does she get to win? I stepped around Kevin just enough so she could see my face clearly. I didn't win, I said. I survived. There's a difference. Hannah's eyes widened. For a moment, one small, breathless moment, she understood. She looked down, then away, shoulders shaking. They're gone, she whispered. Both of them. And I'm alone. You're not alone, I said. You're lost. That's different. But you can get help. You can start over. She rubbed her face. I don't know how. Start with leaving here, I said softly. Start with letting go of people who aren't yours. For a long time, she didn't move. Then her voice broke. I don't hate you, Stasia. I know, I said. You hate yourself for what you couldn't be. A long, painful silence hung between us. Finally, she nodded weakly. I'm going. I won't bother you again. She turned and walked down the steps, slowly, like every movement cost her something she no longer had. When she reached the sidewalk, she stopped, looked back once, and whispered, I'm sorry. Then she left, not in rage, not in vengeance, but in surrender. Kevin exhaled deeply. You handled that better than anyone I know. I leaned against the doorframe, feeling an exhaustion that went beyond the body. I just hope she meant it. She did, he said. But even if she didn't, she's done. She hit her breaking point. I nodded. And for the first time in weeks, the air felt still again. Steady. Safe. That evening, I told Riley everything. He listened quietly, jaw tightening at the painful parts, softening when Hannah apologized. Are you okay? He asked. I will be, I said. He took my hand. Good, because I want you in my life, not as a reaction to chaos, not as a rebound, because of you. Warmth spread through me. Gentle, steady, healing. I want that too, I said. He smiled, pulling me closer. Then that's where we start. Not with drama, not with jealousy, not with someone else's unfinished story, but with something real, something calm, something finally mine. People think survival looks like strength, like shouting or fighting or standing tall. But sometimes survival is quieter. It's choosing peace over chaos. It's walking away instead of engaging. It's knowing when the war isn't worth winning. And as I stood there with Riley's hand in mine, the night quiet around us, I realized something. Hannah didn't destroy my life. She revealed who I was. Unshakable, unbroken, free. And sometimes the person you fear losing becomes the person you thank the universe for letting go.